In this lecture, we are going to play with signals and slots. Let's head to Qt Creator and do that. Okay, here we are in Qt Creator. The first thing we want to do is create a new project. Qt Widgets application. We're going to name this one for Qt Widgets Demo. We're going to save it in the usual location. Choose the kit. Make it a widget application and finish. Let's minimize all these other projects. I don't want to see them here. Okay, the first thing we want to do is to go to the widget UI file and add the UI component, which is a slider, a horizontal slider. Let's search. That's going to be easier. Slider. Horizontal slider, and the other one is going to be a progress bar. Okay, so we're going to extend these a little bit so that they fill the width of the screen. Okay, this looks good. The slider is called horizontal slider. The progress bar is called progress bar. The first thing we want to do is to set the ranges for these things. You see the minimum is 0 for the slider. We want to make the minimum 1 and make the maximum 100. This is taken care of. We want to do the same thing for the progress bar. The minimum is going to be 1 and the maximum is 100. And we want it to start at 0. Okay. 0. Why isn't it changing? So let's change it here. Push it down to 0. Okay. This is what we want. And we want to push it to 1, which is the starting point. Okay, now that we have this, we can go back to our C++ files and change a few things. We are going to connect the signal from the slider to a slot in the progress bar. How do we do that? We're going to start by using string notation. So let's note that. And we say connect UI slider, horizontal slider, signal, value changed. The signal we want is when the value is changed. This makes sense because this is what we want. And the object we want to affect is not this class here, as we did in the previous lecture. We want to affect the progress bar, okay? And the slot is going to be set value. Let's see if this works. Okay, so now that we have the connection, we can run the application. And if we push to the left and to the right, you can see that the changes from the slider are being reflected in our progress bar. This is what we wanted to do. The second thing we want to do is really the same thing, but we're going to use another notation, and that is going to be a functor notation. Using normal slots. So we're going to comment this out so you see it when you want it. And the way we're going to use the functor notation, we're going to say connect UI progress bar, UI horizontal slider, pound symbol Q slider, value changed, and we want to connect that to a slot in the progress bar component. Okay, we're going to say UI progress bar and Q progress bar set value, because that's the slot that we are targeting. Okay. Let's build the application to see that there are no errors, because sometimes it's easy to make a mistake in this notation. If we run it, we're going to see our changes from the slider reflected in the progress bar. This is good. Now I would challenge you to use functor notation with lambdas to see if you can pull this off. Okay, so pause the video and try to do that. Okay, I'm going to do that right now. Let's comment this out. Okay, so functor notation with lambdas. The way you do that, you say connect, and it's going to be like functor notation. So we're going to choose horizontal slider, pound symbol, Q slider, value changed. And right now we want to specify our lambda function. So we're going to capture by value. We put an equal sign in here. We capture everything in the context. We put our parameter list, which is going to be empty. And we put our function body here. Okay, so we're going to close this like this. And inside the function body, we are going to do things. What we're going to do is to get the current value from the slider and set that as a value in the progress bar. It's really easy to do. So we're going to say UI progress bar set value, UI horizontal slider value. It's really easy to do. So right now we are not directly calling the slot because we are in a lambda function. It's not a slot that is direct, but we can do the connections ourselves to capture the value from the slider and set that as a value to the progress bar. I hope this makes sense. Let's run the application. And you see that it is doing what we wanted to do. By now, I hope you have played enough with signals and slots, and you can use them in your application more freely. This brings us to the end of this section. In the next one, we're going to start working with different Qt widgets. I'll see you in the next section.